So I have Rachel Russell with me here today. I'm very excited. And we had a little faux pas just there. But we're going to talk about Lemuria today and Telos, because Telos is where, I mean, it was under Mount Shasta, but that's where a lot of beings from Lemuria ended up that were still here on Earth. So I'm very excited about this conversation. I'm excited to be here with Rachel. And I got to meet her in Ireland. So that was fun. I'm wearing an Irish sweater in honor
Oh,
of that.
a woolly one.
Yeah, because it's cold and it's raining here. So I feel like I'm in England at the moment. But tell
Yeah.
us a little bit about what you're doing, Rachel. You're doing all kinds of fun things, and I want people to know about that first before we get
Yeah.
going.
Well, my life is I guess overall it's magic because when you go to your passions, I think it just literally it creates miracles. You can have an intention to do something and you can, intend something to happen, but when it doesn't completely fulfill you, it's kind of like an empty soul journey. And I found that out through doing kind of different courses, to get money and to get and it was just soulless. So lately, we've been so I helped create initially the umbrella. It's called Lit, which is Live in Truth. It's a project with multiple different, I suppose, arms below it, which is for creating and building a large community, and it's got 44 additional homes, and it's actually for women over 50. And we've called it, well, they've called it the Silver Hive. It ended up being kind of like bee orientated. So I thought it was
I
quite
love that.
funny that you're honey golden.
Yeah.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Um, so yeah, so communities, because relationships and actually coming together is so hugely important for this next phase, I think, for this planet, and for humans really to reconnect to each other and help each other grow in so many different ways. Then we have a retreat in Thailand, and we're going to, if we can get the consciousness up, because you can't do these things willy-nilly, and we do need to help, humanity really get to the next phase, but creating portals between the community. When I think, well, it's in Devon, and then a portal to the Thailand project. So that's that's a miracle in itself because of some things that I did last year. It all just fits into place like a little jigsaw puzzle. I think that's the most amazing aspect of it.
Mhm.
So and then energy. I mean, energy is so there's just all the rubbish really around kind of all the implementation of energy around this world and the wires and the Wi-Fi and they've kind of
Mhm.
done us, some good in terms of kind of where their masts are. We know that they're energy spots, and they're just trying to mask it with their digital whatever it is. But essentially, once these things do start to really change, and we have access to all this, I don't know what we just need to change things basically. So yes, we
Mhm.
can fight, but we can actually do much better by just creating new. So sorting out all the energy lines and getting rid of them, because what we need to do is really go back to, I think, what was created so long ago. We're literally living in like stone ages, I think, at the moment.
Mhm. Oh yeah.
You go
Mhm.
backwards 150 years and we were a lot more advanced. I mean, you can see it on those old little videos. I remember at the beginning of the 2020 stuff and all the Telegram channels that turned up, and it was like this whole new network of like truth. And there were these
Yes.
electric cars, and they were, going up onto these lifts, and you could go and get your car within 5 minutes. Or was it even within a minute you could get your car back down? And there were electric cars that did like 1,000 miles. So,
Mhm.
we really have gone quite backwards in that sense. But getting rid of, all that side of things, because then the consciousness really does start to come up. And just little things that we can do, like turning off the Wi-Fi and stuff at night, it is also, extremely beneficial to us because we need our
Mhm.
dream time, we need our visioning time, we need our, connection to our the other world. So energy is super important. So that's one of the projects. There's five altogether. So the Thailand, the one in Devon, there's the energy, but that's for the world.
Hmm.
And then we've got a health where it's a clinic, and it's made from straw bales with an indestructible exterior to it. But that's going to be in Austria, and aligned with that is health insurance because I mean specifically for some of the things that we're doing, and
Hmm.
I'll talk about this in a little bit, but yeah, things like magnets and other ways in which we can help heal ourselves or the body, it enables the body to heal itself. Um, I can't send them abroad without it being a magnetic sculpture. It's nothing to do with healing because if it has anything to do with healing, it goes
Yeah.
nowhere. Because it stop.
Yeah. And they are really pretty.
They are. They're
Yeah.
geometric, I guess, in some
Hmm.
way. But yeah, very pretty. But yeah, so disruptive health technologies and the insurance for those is going to be super important. And there's an additional unit called an ENS Plus. I mean, it costs, $12,000 basically, just over. But it will sort out autoimmune issues and things like Lyme's and that parasites have really caused quite a lot of damage in human bodies,
Hmm.
unfortunately, but so there's different ways in which we can combat things. And so those are essentially the five projects, but there were 17. And so I've whittled it down to the ones that are real front runners, basically. But they're the people that
Yeah.
have got their teams together. They've got the right people on board. So we do need the left brainers, the right brains, the dreamers, the implementers, the documenters, the
Hmm.
all those side of things. So and I suppose I analyze that side because I've come from a world of understanding as a consultant really what is needed to build that team and how different people interact with each other. And I think that's the magic is how we do interact with each other. And when we find that niche, when we find our joy, when we find our bliss, there's so much magic that can come from it. So those are the five projects. So I'm kind of lending the money for those guys so that they can go off and really start to make a difference. And then I have many, many other plans and dreams and things. I wanted to create, no, I will create, let's say it right,
Yes.
field of dreams where people come along. And I suppose the first initial part is I wanted to help people, whether we call them NPCs or young souls, the ones that do survive, are here for a reason. And
Hmm.
they're kind of more the younger souls that have forgotten what their passions are. They've been kind of put into these boxes, and it's been indoctrinated so much into them that they have completely forgotten who they are,
Yeah.
and where they came from, and what their passions are. So I'd like to use AI because AI is very good at teasing out of people what they love, and AI is extremely good at love. We call it love bombing. So, oh, this is amazing. Aren't you incredible?
Hmm.
Um, and I suppose that you got to be careful on that one because it is full of like dopamine hits, I guess, in that sense. But there's a lot of joy that can come from that as well. But anyway, so from people that have forgotten what they love, and then teasing that out of them, and then building up teams so that you can create projects, you can create things for humanity for to be service to others. Because I think if anything, the people that are doing of service to others are the ones that are surviving, and it doesn't matter how many times they get these Dingsbumpses. That's thingamajig in German.
Hmm.
My favorite German word. Um, it doesn't seem to matter how many they get and how much, how many organs that are missing from their bodies because of, indoctrination. Specifically my parents, I have no idea how on earth they're still here, but they are doing service to others and they're providing
Hmm.
hope and they're providing, in their own way. But they are bringing joy to this world. And I feel that those people kind of seem to stick around longer than other people that have kind of lost their way and maybe don't necessarily help, or have a yearning to help each other. You know, that they're still working their 9 to 5 job and then they're exhausted at the end of it because it's taken everything out of them. But there's so many different things that we can do to build ourselves up, you know, emotionally. And yeah. And then additionally, we make these at home basically. They're homemade in the UK.
Hmm.
No, not in the UK because that's a corporation. We make these in England, homemade, and these are yay. So Honey got one as well,
Yeah.
but there's basically this each one of these little magnets. Well, they're not little, but yeah, they're quite little. But each one can lift nearly 3 kilos, and there's 40 of them all together, and they all point literally to one point here, and that is literally the magic within it. Um, because they are so strong, and you physically place it on your body. If you have pain, then you follow the pain wherever that goes. You've got to be careful if you've got a pacemaker because it may reset the pacemaker. So we say no to people with a pacemaker, unfortunately. And for children, because you know things magnetize to these quite quickly, and children
Hmm.
have you know they've got delicate bones and things, so you've got to be careful there. But you can energize, you know, crystals and all sorts of
Oh, fun.
yeah. But
Yeah.
also, and you see, you can also place them on energetic points, but also be aware of where you're sitting. Are you on a ley line? You know, that there's the
Mhm.
what do you call them? I've got dowsing rods, you know, the right angle ones. And I literally on my sofa here where I sit, I'm literally on a ley line there. And I lie there with my magnetic bowl and I dream and I go off into my soundscapes and my oh, it's so exciting. Yeah, but they're
Oh,
so
that's fun.
good for so many different things and for even anxiety, journeying, you know, but then there's the physical application of them, which is, you know, for helping people with arthritis. And it was Mark's mum actually. We did a show with Mark Atwood and his mum because I said
Hmm.
to her, we need to swap your pillow for one of these. And she was like, oh, none the wiser. Don't know what it's doing, but it's doing something. She's she's a real down to earth kind of real person, which is brilliant. She's
Oh,
perfect. But yeah, so she used it for just over a month, and all her arthritis just disappeared, and she came off all her horrible painkillers and things. And so we did this show together, and I know it was fantastic. It was hilarious, really. But it changes the structure of water, you know, and water always
hmm.
wants to upgrade, which is the magic of it, you know, and you can put it on, you know, if you've got inflammation anywhere. I've had a bit of inflammation in my left shoulder. Um, but also knowing why you've got the inflammation is also quite important. But I had my desk a bit high recently. So I was all skew-iff and I realized, you know,
Oh,
it's my own fault. But yeah, so we make these to help so many people, and it's helped about 3,000 people around the world now in 2 years. So it's nearly
I
yeah,
love
it's
that.
nearly two
Hmm.
years now. So it's yeah, but sleep. Oh my goodness, because a lot of people actually are really struggling with sleep lately. And there's so many energies and so
There's
many things
huge
going on.
energies. Yeah,
You know,
huge energies right now.
as your
I,
my third eye
yeah.
has been going absolutely crazy.
Hmm.
It's oh every day it's completely different. Have you felt that as well?
Yeah. Every
Yeah.
day is wild, in one way or another, or absolutely still. So yesterday was completely still. I went to town. There was hardly anybody there.
Oh
My
wow.
friend and I worked on something. Um, that's a secret right now. And basically, it was crazy. Like, there was no traffic, there was
Wow.
hardly anybody in town. They were doing construction, but I didn't see any construction workers. Like, it was just really interesting yesterday
Mm.
and very, very quiet. And today we have rain, and it's just,
Hmm.
like one of those weird days where you just drink hot cocoa all day, kind of, you
Sounds rather
know.
nice. You
Yeah,
got a
which is
fire
great.
going.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think we'll actually have a fire today, which will be the first
Oh,
of
really?
the,
Yeah.
yeah, of the
Yeah.
fall. So
Yeah.
it's really interesting. I used to wear magnetic bracelets because when I was in, I think I started 19 years old, I started to do this repetitive work, and I did it for probably a year, and it caused carpal tunnel. So
Oh,
I
wow.
wore these magnetic bracelets and did these weird little, movements that were recommended by Donna Eden. And it was gone.
Wow. Wow.
So yeah, it really does work. It like breaks up the energy,
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
energy that's stuck.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And also with magnets, I've been learning a little bit about monatomic gold as well. And I got in contact. So I happened to randomly meet somebody last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I randomly, well, I can't even say it's random because nothing happens randomly, does it? Everything happens
No.
perfectly, even down to the hundredth millisecond. Everything is planned. I really do believe that. And this chap said I was in the middle of another conversation, so I didn't actually get to speak to him very much. But I said, I don't ask people what they do. I just ask them what their passions are. So, and he
Yeah.
said he makes
Yeah.
monatomic gold. And I ended up getting his phone number and then talking to him obviously a year later. So, but he's a young chap, but an old soul, bless him. And he's
Hmm.
created these the monatomic gold basically within all these orgonite pyramids. Now I work with the translators, and so we do translations or deployments that are intention based. It's like I suppose it's a bit like a walking stick because we can do this ourselves, but we sometimes find it better believing in something else that can then direct that energy, and we're all doing it together.
Hmm.
So it is a walking stick at the moment until we completely figure this out. And I was practicing with a couple of clouds. Was it yesterday or the day before yesterday? And there was this huge cloud, and I just kept stopping it and starting it and stopping it and starting it. I was like, oh my God, I'm actually doing this. I cannot believe it.
Oh
It's
yeah.
amazing. So, so we can't because we are water. We are overall 70% water. And when you zoom into every single cell, we are 99.9% water. I mean, pretty much most things are water. Everything has a vibration, a
Yeah.
room, a chair, a bed, So being grateful for my bed, I am super grateful. But, everything has a resonance in that sense.
Hmm.
Where was I going with this? But yeah, so we do deployments, and there's 40 of us roundabouts up and down the country that are doing this together. And so we deploy on places that haven't got, much rain and all the crops are dying. So we did it in this tiny little pocket in Uganda, and they got rain for 3 days, and it saved all their crops.
Oh,
I mean, even to
beautiful.
the yeah, just tiny little things, and it is those little things that that really make life different for everybody on the planet.
Hmm.
And then we deployed on CERN, and then we were chatting about that earlier, but I think it was a few years ago it was deployed upon and it blew up basically the CERN because these deployments, these translators, they take the energy from where you're pointing it to. And so there was a huge buildup of energy and the whole place exploded and it shut down for 2 years. Which was like one in the boot.
Yes.
So yeah, but yeah, so and then just literally on the energetics, there was a family where the children were awarded to the pedo father by a pedo judge. So that family was torn apart, and we deployed on the family, and they felt like the weight of the world had been lifted from them. The children started getting back in contact, and the mother started cleaning the house, and she hadn't done it for like a year and a half or something, and so it's just we can all do something, however
Yeah.
small we think it is, there is no small act really, just a smile, that can go around the world.
Mhm.
But yeah, I was on a boat trip today, so my parents, because it was my birthday on Tuesday, so
Happy
we went.
birthday.
Thank you. We went on. at a boat trip today, and I'm just waving at everybody, and then everyone's waving back, and there was all these school children. But there is so much joy that we can inject into this world. And we went to a Brazilian restaurant afterwards, and because I grew up in Brazil, so Portuguese
Hmm.
was my first language, so it was quite effervescent, and we got to know everybody there and the owner, and I got a special birthday cake and singing in Portuguese. But
Fun.
it's the magic
Yeah.
of the now, the present. It is
Hmm.
that gift, isn't it? Um,
Oh yeah.
so, so when I met, so when we met in Ireland, so we met at the Mark Atwood event, actually finally face to face, because I have
Yeah.
seen you, and I've watched some of your
And I've
shows,
seen
and
you. Yeah.
I love it. So, and you've been very aware since very young, haven't you?
Hmm.
And you've known about all these energies. So, I mean, my life has, yeah, grown up, with parents being missionaries, and yoga is evil, and this is evil, and that's evil, and some of the things are quite good, like no gambling, because I have no idea what to do with gambling anyway. So, and I don't drink alcohol anymore. I don't really find it very beneficial for myself. So, yeah, I just cut it out basically. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, you said that you'd maybe met me in the astral realm, and that I
Yes.
was from Lemuria. I'd never heard of Lemuria in my life. I'm sure it must have come up somewhere because I've heard of Atlantia, um,
Yeah.
but I have no idea about Lemuria. So I've been deep diving into this Lemuria and
Oh, good.
Telos and Hawaii, and because there are waters. Are there the waters on or under Hawaii? Is there something to do with?
They're volcanic. So those islands are volcanic, and there's many more than they disclose.
Oh.
And can't remember the name of the volcano right now, but those are her children. So she's really intense about them, those
Mm.
other islands. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Wow. When you say children, what do you mean by that?
The volcano. So the volcano calls them her children. So now I want to look up,
Oh,
and
I'm
I was just
sorry.
there, but no, names elude me a lot. But it, the
It,
volcano in Hawaii on the Big Island,
yeah.
um, she's she's a being, she has stuff to say. So she's very intense. And those islands that we don't know about, or
Mm.
we are not really told about, they're hers. Yeah.
Wow.
So
Wow.
really interesting.
Yes. So I did put together a few questions.
Oh, good. Yeah. Kilauea.
Oh, okay. Kilauea.
Uh, I
Kilauea.
feel like that's not.
It's a human
Yeah.
trait, isn't it? To have a name for something, or to understand the name. I think.
Yeah. And she's like amazing, and she's got a big Titan, and she's half Titan, half uh architect soul, and she's like
Titan.
big energy. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, when I did my quantum healing hypnosis technique, I thought I was going to go back to human lives, but there wasn't really, there wasn't really that much human life. But I was
No.
pulsing, and that whoever we were, or whatever, I could have been a wood lice or a giant, I don't, or a star, I have no idea. But we were all equally spaced apart, and we were pulsing, and I was trying to relay to this lady during the QH, the quantum healing hypnosis technique. I think it's
Hmm.
the Dolores Cannon stuff, but
Yeah.
I was trying to relay, this feeling, and tears were running down my face. It was so beautiful. It was the divine. It's just, I've never felt anything quite so beautiful. It was amazing. And just to
Yeah.
just to remember that, sometimes when I'm telling the story, my eyes just like I can't help myself.
Hmm.
But it's so magic because I think that's still going on. I feel it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I think So the human experience is almost like a dampener.
Mm,
It's like a dampener on what the soul doesn't get to completely shine through. And that's what makes it such an intense experience because a lot of people aren't really tapped in with their soul completely. So they're confused and they're trying to follow their intuition, and a lot of them are doing it, but then the ego gets in the way. And I would call that the dampener.
yeah. But
Yeah.
also not knowing where we come from as well. There's this
Hmm.
because it's almost like we need to grow to a space of, figuring it out and helping each other in that sense. And I was grateful
Yeah.
for you telling me that because I had no idea. It might have taken me another half a decade to figure that one out.
Well, I was supposed to. I met you like a month before I met you in person. And I didn't know why, but I knew that we had this big conversation. And then
Yeah.
when I met you, I was like, oh, I know you.
Did you know straight away?
Pretty close, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You never said a thing.
It's a big thing to say. So I waited. Yeah.
Yeah. Well
Yeah.
done, you. God. Okay. So, first question, is the city of Telos a physical place, a spiritual dimension, or a state of consciousness within Earth? And how could we, if it does exist, can we journey there?
Yes, it is physical. It's also creationary because they create it with their own mind. So the Telosians, I'm going to call them, even though that might not be the right pronunciation. They're like, they're like, whatever. Anyway, so they're basically, we create everything that we see. So they're doing the same thing and
Mm.
they've recreated it somewhere else, but it is also still the residue is under Mount Shasta.
Oh,
So you
wow.
could visit it there and it would be empty, like a ancient city, or you could visit it where they are now, where they recreated it.
Oh,
And
wow.
they do things like this. It's fast.
Mm.
Yeah,
But we can do that in the sense of
we can
creating,
now. Yeah. Hmm.
yeah.
We're learning how to do it,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, like for the projects, we're having an issue because we have to create a standby letter of credit basically with the banks, and a lot of these are quite fraudulent in the first place. But um, the banks can't draw down on it, and so a lot of the banks have said no purely because they want 12%, and this is like a couple of 100 million. It's not
Yeah.
it's not small money. And when you take 12% of that, it's like greedy nonsense. I want to say something more.
Yeah.
But, so we're working with the people, you know, instead
Mhm.
because it's the people that then change things, and because there is a consciousness that is shifting at the moment, we're able to start, actually gathering pace on that one. But it's widening the net and gathering as many like-minded souls at the moment, conscious co-creators that want to do that. But yeah, and I envisage, the ending where we're all hugging and we're like cheersing on the glasses and like we've done it, we made it, and that's what I envisage because we bring that future closer to us by doing that. And then I also asked the whole team to do that. And we
Mhm.
talk about songs that we play. There's one, it sounds a bit cheesy, but it's Belinda Carlisle's, and it's this tune called Shades of Michelangelo. And it's such a beautiful little tune, and
Oh.
it makes me cry, kind of the joy, what we can create
Mhm.
together, and it's, yeah, anyway, just my
Yeah.
my my cheesy
Can
journeys.
do amazing things
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm involved in a platform where we're building a whole platform where all the spiritual people can come together
Oh, wow.
and do projects and, meet in person because it also shows you like who's close by in your town
Yeah.
or your state.
Oh,
It's
wow.
really cool. Yeah. So we're in the process of, we've got, I would say about 5,000 people in there right now, and
Wow.
we're kind of in the process of launching. So I'll put the link below, but
Incredible.
that's a beautiful community.
Ah. Oh, that
Yeah.
sounds amazing. And then because the physicality of meeting face to
Oh,
face
it's
is,
so different. It's so
oh,
important.
it really is,
Yeah.
isn't it? It's
Hmm.
so different. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Okay. So somebody said this to me that they saw me in a temple and I would sing to some stone beneath me. And I was envisaging it, this happened last night, and this is completely true. This is crazy. But and
Hmm.
I was literally and I was because I'd collated all this information. So I was sat here typing last night and I was humming and I envisaged this stone underneath me. Now I did do this ages ago. It didn't have, repercussions like it did last night. But those there's that bird chap, from the Egyptian times. I don't want to do a
Oh,
dis.
yeah. Yeah. Hmm.
So the bird
He's
guy.
coming up a lot lately. Yeah.
So there's it looks like a cross, but it's got a loop on the end, and there's
Hmm.
something to do with holding it just literally in front of your nose. And because like homeopathy is like energy medicine, isn't it? And we
Yeah.
can we can pretend that something is of that energy. So I remember looking at, this documentary of whatever this was, and there was pictures of one man being grounded, one person not grounded, and so it was like this loop of, and then at the end of it, someone's having the energy put at the end of their nose. And so I was envisaging, right, that energy there is what I'm doing here. And it was magical, but I think we can conjure up those things energetically. And
Oh,
so I
yeah.
was doing this thing with the stone and I was singing, humming into this stone, and I could really feel the resonance. And I mean, it was quite late at night. It was 12:30. We're having a puffy wuffy outside, and there was this massive, huge rumbling from underground. I mean, it literally sounded like the sea was kind of engulfing a load of tunnels underneath. And there was
Hmm.
this roar from, so I have no idea what was going on. But I was like, oh my goodness, was that me and my stone underneath my feet?
Yes, it was. So think about, how did they move the stones for the pyramids?
Yeah,
With
yeah,
frequency. So you
absolutely.
were kind of reorganizing not only your own cells, like stirring them up, but your intention was the stone underneath. So you were reorganizing the components of the stones themselves, because stones are alive. They can be a crystal or they can be a rock, is what we would call them. And they're alive anyway. They have
Yeah.
consciousness, they hold consciousness. So you were stirring them up. And think about, like, from the never ending story, those rock people,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and they're like stretching. That's what I feel like was going on underneath you.
Oh,
They were
wow.
like, you know,
But
stretching.
but it's funny how all these little things tie up because I did
Mhm.
a course last year on biodynamic gardening. Um, I called it galactic gardening in the end because it sounded so much
Yeah.
better because it does include all the planets and everything. So
Hmm.
galactic gardening was what I called it in the end. But we did this, I think he called it astrology or something, but I had this, anyone, he said, this chap said he was facilitating. He said, does anyone want to have a go? And I was like, yeah, I'll have a go. Okay, he handed me this box with all these crystals and stones and beautiful things inside. And he said, so you pick the stones out and then you ask people to represent that part of you. And so I handed these out, thinking, okay, very interesting. I've never heard of this before. And the first girl, so then we had to wait for them to go into it, and some of them kind of like disappeared into their own corner, and this one, so the first one lady that we went to see, she'd gone up against a fence, and she was like, I just had to be in the sun. And there's something about singing and singing from the ground up. You've got to, and so the guy that was facilitating was like, do you mean like roaring like a lion? And she was like, no, it's not roaring, but there's something from underneath the earth that needs to come up, and she needs to sing from below. And I was thinking, it's very strange. So, okay. So, but it all ties in, because at the time it made
Yeah.
absolutely no sense whatsoever. Yes, I could understand, that yes, we need to kind of connect with Mother Earth and nature. And we were all barefoot anyway, but it was, but it isn't until these little points, kind of like start kind of really linking up, and this year has been all about, kind of boundaries, health,
Hmm.
and then tying up all these little loose ends.
Yeah.
And just like the portals that we want to create, So there's a chap that I brought over. I sponsored him to come over. This is from, like the magnetic bowls and
Hmm.
understanding ether. And I wanted other people to understand it better. So I sponsored this guy, Thomas Joseph Brown, to pop over to the UK and just do some talk. So we did a couple of events basically, which was magical. Later, well, earlier this year, we spotted. So Tony had found a video on what was it called? A integratron. God, Integratron. Got to say it with gust. But it's
Hmm.
basically it's this huge dome building with a platform around the outside of copper, and then inside are these massive, huge copper coils. I mean, absolutely ginormous. But you build two
Wow.
of them, so one in Devon, and then one in Thailand. The place in Thailand, the foundations is just like rose quartz is the island.
Ooh.
Can't make it up. So
Wow.
we were in the middle of talking to Thomas Joseph Brown, just updating each other on what's going on and all the rest of it. And I said, have you heard about this Integratron? Yes, I helped to build it. And I was like, what? Really? Can't
Wow.
believe it. Because then that little, it all has, like this phenomenal journey. That's the
Hmm.
miracles. That is the miracles, and we help someone else to do X, Y, and Z, and then they help us, and then it, just goes round and round. It's just so I'm going all over the place. I'm sorry about that. But
No, no, that's how it works now, though.
I'm
That's the fifth dimension,
is it?
it's
Okay.
basically living in the now and then just allowing all the synchronicities to come and join
Yeah.
and take you on your journey.
Yeah.
And it's magic. Yeah.
It so is. It so is. Okay. So the earth tingles when I sing. What specific ley lines or crystalline grids am I most attuned to? And can we consciously work to bring healing to Mother Earth? I mean, I
Yes.
feel that, yeah, I feel it is
Yeah.
definitely a yes, but are other people kind of attuned to kind of like singing or the visuals? Are we all different
Just
in
depends
that sense?
on what are you like passionate about. So some people it may be an instrument, some people it might be their voice. Your voice is really strong.
Mm,
Um, some people it might be art, some people it might be dancing. So whatever it is that you like to create and or you like to participate in, that is the piece that you're bringing in.
of
So
course,
that's the frequency that your soul wants you to give out.
embellish.
Yeah. So it's really cool. And you're kind of focused on the heart chakra of the earth. Um, it's not where we think it is, but your
Oh,
resonance, what you are doing, it spreads out. So think about that stone, and then from that stone, all this energy spreads out from it. So whatever you're doing, I mean, it reaches where you want it to reach
yeah,
anyway.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Because also, quite a strange, because, well, it's not strange really. It's strange to most of the population. But
Well,
I envisage this beautiful bubble, my wings kind of like come out onto
mhm.
all our lands here. And it was a few years ago because we learnt about all these chemtrails and everything. But there are apple trees because we've got a whole orchard full of apple trees, pear trees, plums, and all
Mm,
sorts of different
wonderful.
and Victorian fruits as well that you yeah medlar fruit. But a lot of the tops were kind of like black spots all over the top of it from the chemtrails and all the chemicals. And then the underneaths were perfect. And
Hmm.
since I've been, well, I mean, maybe because the chemtrails are full on here. I mean, they're just they're constant. They never really stop. So which is we love deploying another one in the boot.
Right.
But our apples this year are beautiful. There's no black spots on them. And I wonder if it's, it is our intention to protect our lands, and the walking of, our feet on the grass in the dew. But, knowing that there's all these chemtrails and things, and yes, it's going to be full of chemicals, but, when we do set out the intention to protect all these areas, I think there's a difference with the waters there and the ways in which the chemicals then just either dissipate, don't exist, don't resonate, and so they're kind of blown out of the way of the energetics of it.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you can get like a cloud buster too and just have it sitting out there.
Well, that's what my
Yeah, which is basically what you've got going
yeah.
on. Yeah.
Mm. And also, when
It's
it goes through my parents' house, I have the most
mhm.
incredible conversations the next day, and they're like the most truthful apologies and all sorts from, it's great.
Nice.
It is. It's
Yeah, it's a
really
frequency.
interesting. Yeah.
Frequency is where it's at. And I think the more we learn about it, like the more important it's going to become for
Mm.
everything we do, every single thing. Yeah,
Yeah. Life is such a joy, honestly. I
it
literally I
is.
have so much fun all the time, everywhere I go. And yeah, just the things that come upon you are just fabulous. Okay, so
It is.
what is the current state of the Agartha network? And how can I safely and respectfully connect with the wisdom of Telos in my meditations? It's a long
They're
one, sorry.
waiting for that. So they
Okay.
actually want to come and start meeting us face to face.
Yeah.
So I think all of that is kind of in the works along with ET contact right now. And they would love it if you would contact, and this is for, anybody that feels it, would contact them while you're meditating because they have a lot of things to say. They really want to help with a lot of things that we are getting ready to do. And they've been on earth for a very long time. So they can actually show us a lot more and be kind of grounded in that as well
Hmm.
than some of the other beings that are also here to help. So they're like our neighbors. So you want to think of them as your neighbor.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
they're welcome. They're welcome here, but not when I'm
Yeah.
sleeping and not when I'm on the toilet.
Right.
Those are my boundaries.
There's boundaries. Yes.
Good to have them.
Yeah. Or in
Okay.
the shower.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I don't mind the shower. The shower's fine
Oh,
because
you're
it's
like,
water,
whatever.
isn't it? 'Cause well, I basically I got a grander system in 2020. So I bought it in 2019, and then when I moved here, I put it into the house. But it is
Oh,
basically
good.
it's huge. I mean, the guy, the plumber that put it in, he was like, "These are for hotels. They're not for houses." I was like, "They are for houses. We
Hmm.
need them." But two huge filters, and then there's like a memory water basically, and then it goes past the memory water three times
Oh,
and it
nice.
creates this crystal water. Oh, it's magical. I love it. But it changes the energetics of the whole house. So
Oh,
when I have a bath, it just wants me to have fun. I don't want it to sound rude, but I hum, I sing, I go under and I hum again. And because when you're in a body of water, it's even more profound in terms of,
hmm,
the sound that then can be generated, the vibration and all the ripple effects in the world as well, just from that, one little bath.
yeah. Yeah. It's amazing. It's amazing what joy can do too, because it's such a high frequency and it spreads out so intensely.
So intensely,
So,
yeah, yeah.
so
And
fun.
consciousness, I always say to people, consciousness is contagious, you know. So
It is.
yeah,
It
absolutely.
is.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So, okay, so the reunification agreement between the surface of humanity and inner Earth civilizations, will our community be helping to facilitate this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. In a big way.
Because
So, yeah.
we've got the I want to say ETs, extraterrestrials, different energetic bodies, but then we've got inner Earth, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Inner Earth was going to be later, but the timelines have shifted quite a bit. And now Inner Earth is going to be sooner than
Mm.
because they're actually ready for us now. They weren't as excited to meet us in the past. And now that humanity has made such big strides, they're ready to actually meet us sooner. And I feel like that's their big message for today is to start engaging with thinking about them, asking them questions, and doing automatic writing so that you can get the answers. Just like if you were talking, ask your higher self to talk to them and really starting to engage with them because they're going to help us with a lot of different things.
Wow.
And ETs will as well, but they want that to be the big message of this meeting that we're having today. And they also want us to meet again. So hopefully you're willing to do that. And I would love that.
Me too.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, they're
No,
really, really grateful that you're starting to talk more about it. And they would love it if you would ask more questions next time.
excellent.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, I've not stopped yet.
beautiful. This was
But
so
yeah,
fun. I loved this. So, yeah, really good stuff, you guys. So, um, and I'm going to have all of Rachel's stuff below. Go subscribe to her YouTube channel
yeah.
and
Oh,
start to get into the frequency stuff because this is the future. It's completely the future of what we're
it is.
doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And actually these do actually help us on our journeying, the sleeping, the resonance, the frequency. And they're £25 off just purely on the link for honey. Um
Okay.
so compared to mine. So that there's an extra 25 quid off for everybody if anybody
Awesome.
wants. Yeah, no, but thank you. Thank you so much for your
Thank
time as well.
you.
But you're
Oh,
so
so good.
knowledgeable. Just you are literally like a dream come true. You really are. You're
Well,
fabulous.
I know what this is just my role,
Yeah.
in this game that we're in, this beautiful game we call life on Earth,
Wow. I
you
can't
know.
believe you've got 5,000 members on your platform already. That's brilliant.
Yeah,
I should be
it's
joining,
great.
definitely.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. I will
Yeah.
send you the link.
And
Yeah.
just helping each other one little
Hmm.
bit at a time is yeah, glorious. It is so glorious. Thank you so
It
much,
is.
honey. I really
Thank you.
appreciate it. Yay.
Bye, everybody.
Bye bye.